Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. You may have seen our video on our beautiful KAFFE FASSETT triangle quilt. And when we cut out this quilt, we had a lot of scraps. We already have these cut into 4-inch squares. And I'm going to show you how to make these 4-inch squares into a couple of really cool projects. I'm going to make a couple of pillows today. So the first pillow I'm going to make is going to just take a lot of these squares, and I'm going to use 36 of them. So I'm just going to pick out fabrics I like and start laying them out. I might do them in a random pattern. I might put them in rows, so you can see we've got a row started here. So I'm going to put them in a 6x6 block layout. So the idea is to pick the fabrics you like from all of these wild ones and lay it out till you get it balanced and you like the look of it. I have some pieces laid out and I like the balance of this. It's got kind of a dark section in the middle, and I'm going with the diagonal rows because this will match the quilt that we made better, because it also has diagonal rows. Even though those are triangles and these are squares, it will still feel balanced. So here's how I will sew something small that's patchwork like this. I'm going to take the first 2 rows and pick them up in order. And I'm going to keep them just like this and take them over to my sewing machine and set them down just like that. Then I'm going to sew them together. So we're going to take the top 2 pieces, oops, and we're going to sew them together and leave them on the sewing machine. So that stays on the machine, and we grab the next 2 pieces, which are going to go here. And we're just going to keep going all the way down. We're just taking the top 2 pieces, putting them right sides together, and leaving them with the strings attached. So I like to leave that right there while I pick up the next row. So the next row, again, I'm starting at the top here. And I'm going to take it here, and I'm just going to add one more patch to each of these rows. So I'm going to open this up. This top one is going to go right on top of here. And again, I'm going to leave them with the strings attached, and I'm going to end up with all my rows. And the rows will all be attached by these little strings, so it makes it real easy to keep everything in the right order. This method works really well if you have a small quilt, and also if you have pieces that are one way in design. So I wanted to make sure that all of my zigzag pieces were facing this way and didn't get turned. So this is just an easy way to keep everything in order and keep it sitting exactly the way you want. Now all we have to do is stitch the rows together. So what I'm going to do is finger press all of these seams to the right and finger press all of these seams to the left, right, left, and then we can sew the rows together really, really quickly. Now it's really, really easy to match up all these intersections because the seam allowances are going in opposite directions, and I can just feel if they're like butting up against themselves right here. And it's real easy to make them meet. When your top is all done, you want to give it a nice steam press so it's really, really flat. Now that we have the whole top done, the only other items we need are a little bit of batting and a backing. So I'm going to put this on top of the batting, and I'm going to edge stitch it. And you could quilt it if you like. I don't think I'm going to, because there's so much going on with the bold prints that I'm just going to leave this fairly simple. If I did quilt it, I would just go in the ditch and you wouldn't be able to see it in any case. But I'm just going to simply line it with a piece of batting. I'm going to put a few pins in here just to keep everything in place while I go around the edges, because this is such a big pillow. We're making a 20-inch pillow here. I'm just going to edge stitch. I'm about a 1/4 inch from the edge. And I'm just going to go all the way around and pivot at the corners. I've got the pillow top stitched to the batting. Now I'm going to take my backing. It's just a 45-inch width of fabric, and I'm going to split it right along the fold here. Now I'm going to put this right sides on top of the pillow top. So I'm going to move down about 4 inches from the top, and then I'm going to fold back about another 4 inches. Now I'm going to leave these selvages showing here. They're not going to fray out. They're going to stay nice and flat, and I don't have to do any sort of narrow hem on there. Now I'm going to take the other half. I'm going to line it up here, and then I'm going to move it down a couple more inches. So I want it fairly straight, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So as long as we've got the back covering all of the patchwork there, that's all we need. Now we're going to put some pins in here, and you can feel where your patchwork is. So we're just going to pin it around the perimeter of the pillow. You can always lift this up to see where to pin. And I'm going to put some pins all the way around. Now we're going to take this to the machine, and we're just going to stitch almost on top of that previous stitching line. I'm going to stitch just inside it. You want to be sure to take these pins out and not sew over your pins. So just go all the way around. It's just one big square. Now we're just going to trim off the excess batting and backing. We're leaving about a 1/2 inch of seam allowance here. Then we can flip this right side out and put it onto our pillow. I'm just going to reach in these far corners and flip this right side out. Now this is the simplest of all pillow covers here. They're really, really fast. If you want to put a zipper in your back so your pillow is reversible, you can. I find with patchwork pillows and really bold pillows like this, I'm probably not going to turn it over to have the back side showing because the front is so much fun. So that's really all we have to do, and now we're going to put the pillow inside here. So you can see it's just a big envelope, and we're just going to slide this in. So this is a pillow form. You can find these at Joann's or Michael's Crafts, or you can make your own with your batting scraps. And the reason I like to put the batting in the front of my pillow, even though I did not quilt it, is because it helps the pillow not look baggy. It helps the cover not look baggy onto when it's put on the pillow here. So we're just going to get it in and then give it some good squishes. And look how much fun that is and how quick that was. A great way to use up those extra scraps we had. Now we have a lot more scraps left. So I'm going to show you how to make another pillow. We are going to make a pillow with something called prairie points. So for prairie points, you take a square and you fold it in half on its diagonal, and then fold it one more time. And these are commonly used around the outside edge of a quilt. Now we're not going to put them around the outside edge. We are going to use these on the top of the pillow. So I'm going to iron up a bunch of these, and then I'll show you how we're going to get them attached to the pillow. I have a bunch of the prairie points lined up here, and we're going to sew them in a line like this. And I need to make something to get them all attached together. So I have a 2.5 inch piece of fabric that I've cut here, the width of the fabric, and I'm going to fold it in half. It's almost like I'm making a binding, and it is going to end up looking kind of like a binding. So I'm going to iron it in half. Then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to iron it in quarters. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to fold the bottom up to the middle, and we're going to fold the top down to the middle. Then we're going to re-iron it along that middle fold there. I'm going to leave a little tail here at the beginning, and I'm going to just put my first prairie point right in the fold there. So it's almost all the way to the center there. And now I'm going to top stitch. I'm going to start top stitching at the very beginning here. So I'm stitching near the folded edge, and I go to about halfway down the prairie point. Then I'm going to grab another prairie point, and I'm going to overlap it just a little bit. Still put it along the middle there. And what I want is for this to make a nice point in the middle there. You can go farther over if you want and overlap them, but it doesn't look quite as good if you go too far this way. I like to have them close to where that intersection is, right at the edge there. So every time I get halfway, I'm just going to grab colors at random, stick the next one in there, and stitch all the way down. We want to iron this nice and flat. Now, this strip here was cut on the width of the fabric, so we can iron it really, really straight if we want. But because there's a little bit of give to this, it's not true bias, but you can make it curve if you want, and that's what I want for this pillow. So if you just lay it and curve it a little bit and steam press it, you can get a nice curve in it, and that's what I want for my pillow. All right, I'm going to make another one, and then I'm going to put them onto the pillow top. I've got my pillow top here. This is just a plain, non-patchwork piece of fabric. I'm using the grunge because I think it looks really good with the KAFFE Fasset prints. And here are my prairie points. And I've curved them onto the top, and I'm just going to pin everything, and I'm going to stitch this down twice, but leave the points loose. Then I'm going to stitch around the edge. So stitch all the way around the edge and just stitch right across these guys. We're just a 1/4 inch from the edge. We just want to anchor everything down to that batting. Now we're going to edge stitch right along the edge of this binding here. But you have to be careful because since it's so thick, your machine wants to curve right off of it. So you want to be careful you stay on the binding. I've got both of them stitched on, and I'm going to stitch again right on top of this previous stitching. You don't have to. I mean, it's on there securely. I just think it might look better when the pillow is finished if I stitch this down through all the layers. So just go careful right on top of your previous stitching. The top is all done here, so we're going to put the back on using the same method we used on the first pillow. So I'm going to fold down 3 or 4 inches there. Then I'm going to take the selvage here and just overlap that a little bit. Make sure it's straight. Then I'm going to pin and stitch. These are absolutely so fast and fun, and really a nice add-on item when you make a quilt. Oh my goodness. Let's take these over and see what they look like on top of the KAFFE quilt. Let me show you how fun these are on the quilt. So this one shows up really well, and this one would be great on top or somewhere else in the room. They're just very cheerful pillows. So we've got a 20-inch and we've got a 16-inch here. And we still had a lot of pieces left over, so you could make multiple pillows. Or if you like, the little thing over my shoulder here, this makes a really fun thing that you can decorate with. The family said I could not wear it as a headband, but I'd really like to. But you can You can just hang this over a window. It's just a really fun banner. Thanks for watching our tutorial today on how to make some pillows with scraps from your quilt. Now we have something very exciting to share with you. We're doing a quilt giveaway. We're giving away 2 quilts on New Year's Day. So they're both here behind us, and we'll have a link in the description below that tells you how to enter.
Beautiful log cabin, beautiful rail fence. They're wonderful little throws. Donna and I would like to thank all of you for watching our videos this year. It's been a great experience. We look forward to 2018 and bringing you many, many more.